Oklahoma City Thunder look to take the lead in the NBA Finals as they host Game 5 tonight against Indiana.
Evened up the series. Tyrese Halliburton and the Pacers, another opportunity to bounce back and show they have what it takes to win it all.
Yo, what up, y'all? Welcome back to another video. My name is Israel, and what a basketball game. This was a great game of basketball. We're going to talk about OKC versus the Indiana Pacers. Game 5, OKC win it at home, go up 3-2. And I'm sorry I did not make a video for the Game 4. It's because I just didn't really feel like it. I mean, there wasn't really much to talk about. OKC went to Indiana and they stole a game from Indy when Indy was pretty much the team that was up the whole game. OKC wasn't playing well. They weren't shooting well, but they stayed aggressive. They only made 3 threes that game, and they only had about 10 assists the whole game, but they kept playing one-on-one. At the end of the stretch, they gave Shea the ball and let him go to work, and that's exactly what he did. I don't know why people are saying he pushed off and he traveled. Those are not travels and those are not push-offs. He just showed why he's the MVP and why he's the great. But that was Game 4. We're going to be talking about Game 5 tonight, and let's get right into it. So first off, I just want to say shout out J-Dub. Shout out J-Dub, man. He has put a string of consistent great games, and he just dropped 40 tonight. He's the third youngest player ever to drop 40 in a finals game behind Magic Johnson and Russell Westbrook, and that's pretty much a really elite company of players. He dropped 40. He was aggressive. He got to the line. He made some clutch threes when Indiana was coming back in that end of the third and start of the fourth. He was just great tonight, and that helped Shea because it helped him relieve him of some of the ball handling duties. And Shea also had a pretty good game with 31, 2, and 10. He was great defensively. He had 2 steals and 4 blocks. And like I said, J-Dub going off tonight helped Shea because it let him defend a little bit more aggressively and use some of that energy. Because as we saw in Game 3, Shea was beat. Shea was tired. Everybody said that Indiana was wearing him out. And that adjustment of Mark Daigneault to keep him off the ball for a couple plays so he can find his energy back, and it has been working. I feel like the Oklahoma City Thunder have figured the Indiana Pacers out. They have completely stopped Tyrese Halliburton. Tyrese Halliburton did not make a shot today. He only made free throws. He only had 4 points. He had 7 rebounds and 6 assists. He was a minus 13, and he went 0 for 6 from the field, 0 for 4 from 3, and he had 3 turnovers. He was just completely shut out. Shout out Lou Dort. You got to give credit where it's due, and also you got to give credit to Alex Caruso and Case and Wallace because they also play defense on him. But the fact that they shut down completely a player of the magnitude of Tyrese Halliburton is crazy, and I just feel like they have the Indiana Pacers figured out. Pascal Siakam was pretty much the only dude. Him and TJ McConnell were the only dude who showed up for the Indiana Pacers. Actually, Neesmith showed up as well. He had 4 threes, 4 for 5 from 3. Obi Toppin was decent. He had 12 points. But Pascal Siakam, he had 28 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists with 3 steals and 2 blocks. He has been quietly putting on, even though the Indiana Pacers have been losing, he's been putting on some great performances here in the final, and he has been here before, so he knows how to control the pace of the game, and he also knows how to get himself going. But Indiana Pacers end up dropping this one and are now headed home to a Game 6, and they are going to be fighting for their lives. The Game 6 is always the hardest because it means that if you don't win, you go home for Indiana. And I think they're going to obviously play with a lot of grit. But like I said earlier, I just think the Oklahoma City Thunder are just too good, especially with Jalen Williams, the way he's playing, and Shea. I just think they're too good, and they will close it out at home. Also, this pretty much, like I said, this whole series was pretty much like the same as the Denver series, but I think the only thing different is that when OKC went to Denver in that Game 6, they ended up losing it. This time, I think they'll take it at home. But we'll see what happens. Like I said, shout out Cason Wallace. He was big tonight. He had 3 threes. He also went 4 for 5 from the field. He had 4 steals. Shout out Caruso. He didn't really play as good as he played last game, but this dude, he pulled off 4 steals, and he had a massive steal in the fourth when he intercepted the ball and he dove for it. Pascal Siakam ended up going to chase it, and then he dove again and ended up getting the ball, giving it to Jalen Williams, and then I think Jalen Williams scored off of it. It was phenomenal. Or I think he got fouled. But that hustle, even though you don't have it going offensively, you still find ways to contribute. And that's exactly what Alex Caruso has been doing this playoff run. Aaron Wiggins, and I was going to say this. If I were to make a video after Game 4, I would have said OKC would win Game 5 because not only is it home, but players and role players tend to shoot better. And if they beat Indiana Pacers with only 3 made threes, I'm sure they'll beat them at home when they make more shots. And that's exactly what happened. Lou Dort, he had 3 threes. Aaron Wiggins, he had 4 threes. Cason had 3 threes. J-Dub had 3 threes. Guys were Chet hasn't even had like a great Chet game, like a game that we saw in the Minnesota series. I mean, the most he scored this series is 20 points, and the most he scored in the Minnesota series is 22. But he did that on separate occasions. He had 22 2 times and 21 on one occasion, and then on another occasion he had 15. So I think Game 6, if OKC wants to win Game 6 and win the championship, they're going to need a great performance by Chet. But he has been everywhere defensively. He was great tonight. He had 3 blocks, 1 steal, and he had a plus-minus of 12. He also had 11 boards. And I believe he is the leading rebounder of OKC all time in the playoffs. With he actually just passed Steven Adams if I remember correctly. So shout out Chet. He is great. He's going to be great. Obviously, he's just struggling right now, but if OKC can win without him making shots, if he has a great game, they'll win for sure. But anyways, that's just my analysis. I got to watch the film to kind of go over what exactly happened. But that was a great game of basketball. Indiana Pacers were pretty much down the whole game, but they were still in it. You know, the Indiana Pacers like being around that 10-15 deficit mark, and they ended up cutting it to, I think it was about 2 or 4 in that third quarter after TJ McConnell was going off. He was making bucket after bucket. He was facilitating. He was great, as he has been this whole postseason. But OKC, they stayed in it. They didn't get rattled. They weathered the storm, and they came back with their own run. And I think that's the growth that this OKC has showed and learned from the other series, but also from Game 1. We'll see what happens Game 6. I'm expecting a Thunder win to win the championship. But like I said, Indiana is still dangerous, and they can force a Game 7, especially on that loud floor of theirs. But anyways, it's been a great final series. I definitely didn't expect it to be this long, and rightfully so. Some games OKC let slip away, but like I said, great final series nonetheless. And I'll see you guys Thursday. Hopefully It's a video about this OKC team winning the championship. All right, y'all. Peace.